The new moon in Aries will be occurring on April 17th of this year. And it will be a powerful new moon because it will be the time of setting new intentions for what we want to manifest and putting those intentions into action. It's about putting forth what we want to dream about and actually making it a reality. Healing the wounds that we need to heal. To really make us more of our individual selves, to step into our authenticity, to step into our sovereignty and our truth, and really looking at who we truly are as sovereign individuals. In this very deep and in-depth podcast episode, I'm going to be discussing the new moon in Aries, April 17th of this year. Now, I'm going to change how I do these just a little bit. I have a couple announcements I want to get out of the way first of all. The first of which is, it takes a lot of energy to do both videos at one time. To do the collective and do the 12 signs. So, I'm going to do my North Node and Taurus thing. I'm going to take a break, take it slow and steady, nurture myself, and decide I'm going to do the New Moon in Aries collective on Thursday from now on, and do the 12 signs on Friday. So you'll get them one day and then another day. You'll get them, one is, you'll get your collective reading today, and then tomorrow you will get how it applies for each of the 12 signs. I want to make both videos very the best that they can be, and when I'm exhausted from editing and uploading and writing and doing all the things I do for these videos and, filming this, then I can't, give you as good of readings for your signs. So less is more, quality over quantity. So that is what I'm going to do from now on. And then also, the other thing that I wanted to mention is that I will be going away this week for health reasons. However, I looked at I will be able to do videos while I am there because I still want to and I have things planned out. So I'll still try to do some videos while I am over there because it's not a vacation and it's not where I'm seeing family. It's a very... And it's not like I'm in a hospital where I can't do things. It's a different type of situation where, I'm an outpatient and, I will be staying in a hotel room while, I'm getting my health taken care of. So I'll be able to do some videos. I think while I'm there, I'll put out the Uranus and Gemini videos, which will be coming up. The horoscope for Uranus and Gemini, the collective and for your 12 signs, will be coming out next week. So Thursday, Friday, if I get it right. Probably not videos on Saturdays. I may not do a video on Saturdays. Who knows? I'll see about that. But I don't think that there'll be any videos Monday and Tuesday because I'll be, those are big days and I won't have the time. And I probably won't have the motivation, mindset, or energy to do them. So, this is what I wanted to just get out of the way before even delving in. So let's delve in. This new moon is taking place at 6:54 a.m. Central Time and 7:54 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, you want to look in your and from, the other thing I'm going to say is, I will be doing videos very often, but I will not do more than one a day if I ever do videos because it's too much energy to do 2 a day and I want to spend the day doing other things. I enjoy doing these, but I do not want it to take over my days. I want to have time to just relax and just be and do other things. So, the whole... burning yourself out trying to do videos like that is not sustainable for me. And that's not going to be sustainable, so that's what I want to say to that. So with this Aries energy that I'm going to talk about, make sure that you do not burn yourself out. With all these planets in Aries I'm going to be talking about, do not burn yourself out. So I don't want to burn myself out, because then I can't give you as good quality videos, and it's not as fun to do those. I don't enjoy it. I don't have the energy. So anyway, this is happening 6:54 a.m. Central Time, 7:54 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So go to your calculator for your time zone to see, adjust for your time zone to see when this is happening for you. This new moon is happening towards the end of Aries. This is happening at 27 degrees and 29 minutes of Aries. So the sun and moon are meeting towards the end of Aries. This is a pretty evolved Aries. The energy is very, very concentrated. The energy is very put under a pressure, put under a bomb of metal and fire, where the energy is like, okay, now you have to act, and now you have to do all these things, because the energy is like screaming at you. Have you evolved? Have you been that way? So you want to look in your chart where you have 27 degrees of Aries, because you want to look to the life area of that chart, because it may or may not be affected. And what planets or placements or points or angles you have, because this new moon will be aspecting those planets and points and angles in your chart. You can go deeper with your astrology with that if you want to invest into that, but I'm just kind of giving you that option, giving you that information. So this is a very powerful new moon in Aries that we're having this year, because we have 8 planets in Aries. Wow. So it's a time to be yourself and be authentic. We have the sun, the moon, like April 17th is the day that this is happening. The sun, moon, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, and Aries, which is a dwarf planet, which is like discord, very much about, she's like I think a street fighter, very, very about, sovereignty and wanting to rebel and wanting to break free of limitations and people telling you what to do and what not to do. So that's very Aries energy. Aries is very strong in Aries, and the names are very similar. So anyway, so we have all these planets in Aries. So I'm going to break down the collective, the general overview. Then I'm going to get into the aspects, the planetary conversations with this new moon, because it isn't just, a new moon, happening, this day, because it can happen every single year. You want to look at the aspects going on. Although with planetary transits, like planets in science, I don't usually look at the aspects, although I very well could, but it's happening throughout different days, and I don't want to make it too complicated. And these videos are weekly astrology videos. With transits, I just happen to put the day that they are ending, so that you know when it's ending and beginning. That planet might not making that aspects to other planets that particular week, so why not just go general with it? So these are supposed to be intended to be weekly astrology videos. I used to just do all the aspects for the week, and that was too exhausting. Too much time. Now it would take forever in a day to, be able to do all of that. So now I'm cutting it down to just one aspect and one transit for the week, and that I can really, really go deep with it, and it's more interesting that way, and I enjoy it much better. So anyway, that's what I started out doing, and then I did several different formats over the years, and then now I'm back to where I was, when I started on YouTube back in 2022. So this year, 2026, is a one universal year. It's new beginnings, fresh starts. And it is a very fiery, very masculine year. This year is a full-on year energetically. This Aries season is full on. I've been feeling it even in Pisces season, and Mars enters Aries on the day that I'm filming this. You can also go back in this podcast to check out your Mars and Aries horoscope, the collective, and for the different signs. And I just want to throw in, I will start the series on Saturn through the signs when I get back from my trip. I want to initiate that when I get back, because I don't want to do 2 videos tomorrow, so I'll do the planet Saturn next week, and then I'll do Saturn through the signs as the weeks go by, and however I want to do it. So tune in for that next week. I just wanted to say that. And so, this year is, full on Aries season, and I have been, really feeling it, and it is a very go-get 'em year, indeed. So, all right. So it is the year of the fire horse. In Chinese astrology, and that's very, go get 'em, and like the horse, is very, very much about, like I'm going out and achieving things. I'm going and achieving all this stuff and all this, all these goals, and I'm being very, assertive and wanting to liberate myself, basically. So we had never experienced anything like this before. So again, check out your Mars and Aries horoscope. I'm doing this on the day that Mars moves into Aries, April 9th. So the sky is like screaming at you to get up and make something happen this year. So this is about, new moons are about setting intentions and new beginnings, and Aries is the energy of fresh new beginnings and fresh starts. And so this is about having these new intentions that you're setting, that you want to set, and acting on them. Like the sky is screaming, act now, take action. That you want to, what do you want to start in your life, and what do you want to go after? We also have Chiron in Aries. I'm going to talk about Chiron in Aries quite a bit in this video, because that's a huge player in, this new moon. The new moon is hand in hand with Chiron. The sun and moon are conjunct Chiron. So this is about action, and and the feeling that we have around wounds. The feeling that we have around our wounds. And how we feel about our wounds, and how do we want to act on our wounds, basically. So this is about acting from a place of clarity. Aries is an energy that has clarity. It's very clear on what it wants, on itself. It's very strong in its identity. It's very strong on what it was born here to do and what it wants to do in this life, the life it wants to live. Like there's nothing complicated about Aries energy. Really, it's very, very simple. I know what I want, and I have the ambition to go after it. So you could say, with all these planets in Aries energy and all the stuff that's going on in the world right now, that, this is World War III. War, battle, aggression, fighting, all of that. Well, it can actually be for those individuals who are like, get up, act, stand up for what's right. Say, this is not right, we need to fix this, and all this Aries energy is propelling us and inviting us to stand up and make something happen, and act on what we don't act on, choose to take what we're unsatisfied with, choose to take what we're frustrated with. Like, if there's anything that we're frustrated with, or we're angry about that is the status quo of our lives, then this new moon, all this Aries energy is saying, make something happen, make waves, make change, be a rebel with the cause and stand up for what is right. And and a lot of people are doing that right now with Neptune and Aries. It's standing up for spiritual belief principles. Like Neptune and Aries is very, very active. At the low level, it can be unconscious aggression and war. But at the high road, Neptune and Aries is really, you know what? I have this belief and I have the will, and now I don't want to just sit on it. I don't want to dream on it. I don't want to do all that. I want to get up and make it happen. So this really looks at, we do want to be mindful that all actions have consequences. All actions have consequences. So what are we doing? And what kind of consequences do they have for us in our lives? Okay, because when we take an action, when we do something, when we cut the grass, it's going to soil the earth. When we hang up a painting, it's going to make the room more beautiful. When we offend somebody, they're going to get hurt. When you put out an unethical video where you name people and show their picture, then they're probably going to find out about it, and an organization is going to be on you about that if they find out about it in your local community, and the organization is going to find out, most likely, and possibly the authorities will contact you. Like, that's what happened to me. And that is just an example of, like, if you act out of impulse without thinking of it, these are the consequences of your actions. So being very, very aware of all the side spheres before we even go any further here. Now, Aries takes risks. It is a gambler. It is a risk taker. It is somebody who is not afraid to go big in life, not afraid to make a bold standing, not afraid to make a bold move in its life. Like, Aries wants to make a move, and Aries is a risk-taking energy. It's like, Aries wants you to break. This energy is screaming, break out of your comfort zone. So, if you don't take risks, then you will not grow, and you will stay small. And you don't know what you can do unless you try. You don't know what you're capable of doing, what you're good at doing, until you try something. It's like you have no idea what your talents are, what your gifts are, and what your strengths are, unless you actually act and do the thing. So unless you act, you'll never know what you're truly capable of. So Aries is about being strong in discovering what you are capable of. So the low road, this can be, too much fire, just taking over everything. Where war and aggression can come out, where this energy consumes you and you are not using the energy wisely. You want to use it with self-awareness. You want to be very, very wise with this energy. And I've gone through 3.5 years of depression, so I'm pretty self-aware at this point. And so I will choose to use all the Aries energy wisely instead of not. And not rushing into things. Not rushing into, because there's all right now, there's all these things that you want to start, and there's all these ideas that I have, and I could easily rush right into things, but slow it down. Take a breath. Relax. One thing at a time. Slow and steady. Like, if you do something and you're like, you know what, I did it and I feel satisfied, do something else. Rest. Take a break. Like, as much as this energy is saying to act, it is also important to rest. Like, you are also worthy of rest. And just being. And just living without having to do. And, it's like, Aries has all these goals that it wants to achieve. All these things it wants to do. And there's an impatient quality with, like, needing to do it now. And there's this energy which is very, very, like raring to go, and at worst, you burn yourself out. So do not fall prey to burnout during this time. What seeds do you want to plant and grow? This is a question you can ask for every new moon. This is a closing of old chapters in your life. Now, last month we had the Pisces new moon, and I talked about that as a time of release and a time of closing out the chapters of the last astrological year. Well, this, a month later, is the brand new beginning of this, where the old reality, the old world, the old ways of being that you had, the previous ways of being collectively and individually are closing, and new doorways are opening, new pathways are opening up for us. And we're birthing a new world. It's really, really important to be open to when there is change and when there is surrender. Very, very huge. We can be so in control of our own lives, but at some point there is also great power in surrender. So while this is the time to go, we have to also remember that, surrendering to the things that we cannot change and having the courage to change the things that we can is very, very important. The serenity of prayer. Knowing the difference between both of those things. So having the courage to change the things that we can and surrendering to the things that we cannot change. That's both and here. So, this is where we're really experiencing our passions. Ask yourself, what lights you up? What are you truly passionate about? I am passionate about astrology. I am passionate about doing these podcast episodes. I'm passionate about speaking my truth. I'm passionate about cooking. I'm passionate about a lot of things in my life, music, and all these things that I enjoy in my life. So act on what you are passionate about. This is a time to act and make something happen. I am feeling on fire this year and so motivated to act on my ambitions in intellectual, communicative ways, things that stimulate me, because my Mars is in Gemini, so I've been feeling revved up this year like crazy. More than I have the past 3.5 years of depression. So this is a renaissance for me and the universe screaming, wake up! It's time to act. So, and Aries can kind of be blunt, kind of like a trouble disturber, wake up! So anyway. Feeling, this is about, where you're feeling motivated to achieve these goals. Motivated. You suddenly feel more motivated. I want to make something happen. Now, I recommend to you Mel Robbins because she talks about motivation and taking action on the things you want to do in your life and self-love and being true to yourself when it comes to what you want to do in your life and the life that you want to live. Check out her Mel Robbins podcast. Her content, very, very good content on that. Over 1 million subscribers, well over that amount of subscribers. And she has a stellium of planets in Aries. And her North Node is being very activated right now, which is in Aries, so that is really, really huge. So she is definitely somebody to turn to this particular time with all this energy going on. So, and then having confidence in your abilities, having confidence in yourself and what you can do. So, this is the time to move your energy, to not, Aries at worst, with fire energy, you want to move your energy. And I could certainly benefit from, I'm already doing it. I have an exercise routine. I'm moving my body. This is the time to move your body. physically exercise, move energy through you, do what makes you feel energized. Don't sit on the energy, and don't repress the energy, and don't hold down the energy. Like, don't be a couch potato and and just, where you become lethargic and lazy and do all that. Like, pick up the energy and move your body. It can also be expressing yourself assertively, like expressing your needs, wants, and desires assertively, and in your life. And also follow what your soul wants, not your ego, but your soul. When you follow your soul, you are not being selfish. When you're following your ego and you're just bending over backwards for your ego, that can be very, very selfish when it comes to when you're following your ego and you run into battles. Like, the ego is here to serve the soul. Like, the ego is good. It's a servant. It's good because it helps with our uniqueness and what makes us different. But our soul leads the way, not the ego. So when we approach conflict, we want to not be egoic about it. We want to not be egoic about it. We want to, speak from a place of truth, inside out, sovereignty, groundedness, calm. Aries energy, as I keep saying this over and over again, living from the inside out. This energy is screaming, live from the inside out. Very, very strong. So, where you're in your power. Like, Aries wants you to be in your power. And so, having the intentions on the things that you want to manifest in your life. You can write them down, you can speak them, just make them very, very clear. Like, make them, like, non-negotiable. Like, these are the intentions. Like, if you have your New Year's resolutions, get those out and refine those and look at those goals. Like, this is the time of year to do that. And, like, if you made your New Year's resolutions back in January and you put them aside, well, now it's time to get those out again, because you may have a different conclusion to those things. And you may feel differently about them, and you may feel like, wow, I had these goals and these plans, and now I want to act on them. I want to make them a reality. So, intend on the things that you want to manifest in your life. Now, this full moon is hand in hand with Chiron. The sun and moon are conjunct. I'm going to talk about the sun conjunct more specifically later on in this video. But with Chiron involved with this new moon, Chiron is the wounded healer. And big news, Chiron will enter Taurus this June. I'll do a whole video on Chiron and Taurus, and a whole horoscope, because that's going to be so fascinating. That deals with wounds around security, wounds around self-worth, wounds around you being worthy to own things. I think that those are really, really big themes of Chiron and Taurus. So, I'll talk about that then. Healing that needs to happen. With Chiron involved, there needs to be healing. You have to, it's important to heal things. This is a time of healing what you need to heal. Now, Chiron has wounds, and these wounds will really never leave us. These wounds, that we have, you can't heal the wound. You can't, you can heal it, but you can't get rid of it entirely. Like, no matter what you do, you're never going to be able to just rid yourself of that wound. So, Chiron has wounds that are going to stay for us. And these wounds make us who we are. To piece one experience after another, and the wound that we've gained through each of these experiences, and to piece all these wounds together into something whole, makes us who we are, makes us special, makes us unique. Celebrating our uniqueness, like these wounds make us unique. Now, things may occur during this time when you may be more sensitive to getting triggered. Like your buttons may be pushed more so at this time. Like you may get triggered by this wound. And it's important to be aware of your triggers. Like, be aware of what triggers you. What gets you mad? What pushes your buttons? What gets you on edge? What makes you irritable? And reflect on that. Sit with it. Process it. And then respond as opposed to react. From a calm place of truth, authenticity, and power, not from a defensive, reactive place. Like, we can't control what we feel, but we can control our reactions, control our response. So when somebody triggers you, take a breath, calm down, respond in an honest way. Tell them exactly what you think and exactly what you feel, but not in a fighting way that could cause conflict with this person and could cause a battle. And that's not very productive, and that's not very healthy to get into an argument with somebody. Like when we, argue, that's not very, good, and, we should be leaning into. So instead, respond. Now with this, it may bring up feelings of just loneliness. Just feeling unappreciated, unloved, unliked for who we are. Like, we just get this feeling like others do not respect us for who we authentically are and who we authentically want to be. Like, this is about like being who you are. And allowing everyone to express what they need to express without judgment. Like sometimes, my mom and I, we have conversations, and she's very, critical and very frustrated. As long as she doesn't get into an egoic, reactive place and expresses it, and that's what she needs to express, and nobody can really be perfect. So just allow people to express what they need to express there. So, all right. So, and then we can also free ourselves more quickly. We don't have to be defined and bound to our wounds. We can be liberated. We can free ourselves. We don't have to be, like, our wounds are not going to chain us to the ground and, put a gun to our face and say, oh, you must, do this. And all of this kind of thing. Like, they're not dictatorial. They're not, like, if you feel like your wounds are keeping you in a trap, like, you can't get perspective from it, or you can't not think about it, or you can't live a life where that wound is not affecting you in those negative ways, then now's the time to liberate yourself from that as best you can. And it does take time, and it does take work, but when you actively take those steps to heal, then you will grow ultimately. So, with healing your wounds, you have a greater sense of self-love. Self-love is so important. Very, very huge Aries lesson, like loving yourself, loving who you are, loving you and your, in your identity. And the confidence to be yourself. Being confident in yourself. Like you are worthy of being your true self. And it says, you're worthy. You're worthy of being your authentic self. And, So living a life that is in alignment with your dreams. Like, what are your dreams? And are you living a life that is supporting those dreams? You're living with following those dreams? Or are you living a life where you are just following the demands of others, meeting the expectations of others, doing a job that you hate, fulfilling goals that are long-term that you need to do, but it's not true for you? Living a small life. Now's the time to say, you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm going to get out of my small life, out of my limited life, and I am going to break free, and I am going to live a life that is true for me. And if you think to yourself, oh, well, I can't do that. Well, it's about having courage to stand up to those who keep you in that structure and saying, you know what? I'm going to be true to myself, regardless of what you think, regardless of those consequences. And I'm going to live a life that is true for me in that way. So, this is about birthing your ideas into existence, bringing your ideas into form. Taking just an idea and bringing a tangible form to it. That's what it's about. We want to create a better world. A much kinder, more healing, more loving world for ourselves and every one of us. And assertively send out positive emotions. Pam Gregory does this with her nightly meditations, with with saying, over and over again, like, what emotion do you want to carry out? And courageously and assertively send out peace, joy, love, contentment, serenity, security, like all these things. Setting out these emotions and being willing to do that. So, also, not giving into what we fear. Because we may have a lot of, like a lot of our fears may surface at this time for us. Like a lot of these fears may come up for us. And we may have a lot of prejudices. That may be very, very big for us. Yeah. The prejudice. So feeling prejudice over things, like feeling this resistance towards people and situations, and all those kind of things like that. And this creates a world of dividedness. We don't want to fall into the negative side of areas of separating ourselves from others, being our own selves, that we're not interconnected with others, that we're not in harmony, relationships, and we're not living in balance, in tandem with one another. And we are not where we are fighting each other and destroying each other and separating ourselves from each other completely, where we're not connected. So we can create a better reality for ourselves, in our lives, that is a kinder reality, and a reality that's more true to what we want on a soul level, as opposed to the egoic need to be right and to be, all prideful and powerful and almighty. Like, the soul doesn't want that. The soul has no desire to be almighty and powerful. The soul has no need to be almighty and powerful. Soul just wants to be authentic. There's no need to control others. That's an ego thing. When you're connected to your soul, you're not controlling the others around you. So, all right. So this is about, the core of your identity. That's what Aries is. That's, really an Aries quality is like the, the root of who you are. Aries is about, well, you came into this life and your soul made an agreement that it would marry this person or do this job or paint this painting or write this book or live in this country, make friends with this person. Like all these soul contracts that you come here to incarnate to do certain things, about honoring those contracts and fulfilling those contracts that your soul want you to do, and trusting your intuition. Trusting your intuition, like, even though my ego may be uncomfortable with it, and my ego may be very, very, unhappy with that direction and may be resistant, your intuition says it feels right. It feels like this is a path to go on. This is for my highest good. That intuitive soul part of you is who you really are. You're not your ego. You're not you're not your head. You're not your logic. You're not your ego. You're not your small self. You're your deeper self. Your internal self. So, all right. So, and then, when you enter the world, you come in with so much hope. Like, a new baby that is born. Like, that baby enters the world with, the innocence and hope to live a new reality and live their own sovereign reality, and the hope to fulfill their dreams and wishes. And what happens? Do people condition it out of us? Maybe when we enter, we just have so many, there's so much enthusiasm that others just squash it from us and condition, like, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that. Now, conditioning can be good when those take away the shadowy parts and the the wrong parts of us, to mold us into the person that is for our highest good. That to mold us, like, at best, this conditioning can actually help us to fulfill our soul and what our soul wants in a way that you can get around the world. Like conditioning should be where you are being taught to fulfill what your soul wants to fulfill and what your soul wants to do, and conditioning you how you can do that, how you can approach that, as opposed to conditioning like, oh, you must do this, you must follow my rules, you must, you can't do what you want, you can't get what you want, you can't be true, you can't be authentic, you have to do it my way, and all this conditioning. Like, we have to let go of this. Aries does not do conditioning from others. Does not do it. This is time to express your creativity. Your creative energy. Also, so if there's any creative energy that you have, it's time to really bring that forward. Bring that creativity forward so that it becomes very, huge for you in this kind of ways. You're being your creative self. So then the aspects for this lunation. Let's talk about the aspects. The first aspect is the Sun conjunct Chiron. This is big. So, this spells out healing and growth. When we heal, we grow. That's the truth of it. Now, with this aspect, we are going inside ourselves. Looking inside ourselves. Looking deep within ourselves. Having compassion for yourself. Softening yourself. And feeling your wounds. Like just leaning into your wounds and accepting them as they are, letting them be there. Letting the wounds be there. And so, self-acceptance. Also, self-acceptance, with all these kind of things along those particular lines. So not judging yourself, not shaming yourself, but just accepting things as they are. Looking at, these wounds that you have shaped you into being resilient. Shaped you into your resiliency. Shaped you into being a very, very strong person. Through those experiences, through getting wounded, you learn to survive. You learn to live in this very, very tough situations. Like when you're going through a tough situation, yes, it's hard. Yes, you struggle. But you grow from that. You heal from that challenge. You learn certain lessons that make you a stronger, more wise person. So, it's going to be about healing wounds around worthiness and abundance. Also, healing wounds around self-worth, being worthy to be who you are, and just feeling abundant about your life, like feeling good. Like, do you feel good about your life? Do you feel good about the status quo of your life and how that's going for you? Like, how is your life working out for you? And do you feel content in your life? That's the question that you can seriously ask yourself. This can also be about accepting your more unusual side. Accepting your kind of side that is apart from anyone else. Because the sun is like, shine and be your own authentic light. But Aquarius opposite Leo, the sun rules Leo. Aquarius, it says, you are unlike anybody else, so stand out and don't be like anyone else. So Leo wants all the attention. Aquarius doesn't want anything to do with it. It wants to, rebel against everyone's attention. Like I was seeing a video, like, when people want the attention, it's like, it's good. Keep doing what you're doing. Because then you cater to the audience. This is Leo South Node, Aquarius North Node. Conversation here. And I'm just coming off, I did that video on that particular nodal placement. I was talking about that there with them about that. Aries like Aquarius is here to march to the beat of its own drum this life and to be an individual. Aries is here to individuate itself. So accepting your unusual side, and then, inspiring others to do healing work. You can also do it this way, like you're inspiring others to heal themselves. You're inspiring others to heal their wounds. Now, any self-doubt that you have, where you are not confident in your abilities, and there's several reasons for this. You just think that you're unworthy based off of past criticism. Maybe you've done it and they haven't worked out. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for this, why you lack confidence in yourself. Like building self-confidence, believing in yourself is a really, really big lesson for this placement. Or excuse me, for this time, for this transit. So, lack of faith based on criticism, and the conditioning that you received. And this conditioning that you received had you lose your faith in yourself and what you can do. So, releasing that self-doubt. Choosing to say, you know what? Even though I don't believe in myself, I'm going to choose to. I'm going to choose to, and I'm going to actively stand up and take action in my life and do it in a confident, self-assured way. So, Mercury conjunct Neptune in Aries is the next aspect. Very, very early degree of Aries, I do believe, at like 2 degrees, if I'm getting that right, somewhere around there. Mercury in Aries conjunct Neptune in Aries. This is about not being afraid to creatively express yourself. Like Neptune is creativity and dreams. Like often with Mercury Neptune conjunction, it's about like being creative and going into the mind. And with Aries, you want to act on it. You want to bravely express it. So it's time to put your no, this is not the time to be focusing on the practical responsibilities. This is the time to rather consider, like, what are the practical tasks that I don't need to focus on right now, that I can put on the back burner, that I can now focus on what I want to express authentically and creatively. And when this aspect passes, the energy will probably return to more earth-grounded energy. But while you're experiencing this aspect over the several days you're experiencing it, this is a time to focus on what do I want to express creatively from my heart, from my authenticity. So, self-love. And ask yourself, how do you talk to yourself? What are the internal messages that you send to yourself? That you tell yourself. And are you being kind to yourself? Or are you having a mean internal dialogue that's defeating yourself, that's hurting yourself, that's shutting down your abilities? Like, like you're too loud. You can't do this. You're too young. You're too bossy. Others won't like it. Like all these negative messages that you have that you just shut down your faith and your drive and your confidence and your ambition in yourself with these negative messages. Also, not giving in to being self-deceptive. Not giving in to self-deception, where you are basically ignoring the parts of you that give, where you're, where you just have this, way of looking at things and it's false. It's not real. Like in Neptune energy, we can deceive ourselves and not be true to ourselves, not see things clearly as they are, getting caught in the illusion and the fantasy of it. So it's very, very important to not fall into the trap of having a false belief, but to be honest with yourself about all these things. Also, acting on your creative and imaginative ideas, acting on these ideas, taking action on whatever imaginative and creative idea that you have. You can also express your creative ideas through writing. That's also a way of expressing your ideas, like creating stories or poetry or, whatever, like actively taking action to express these things. And then, there can also be, mystical subjects that support you on your spiritual path. So what are those spiritual subjects that you have? That you want to focus on. What are those, spiritual subjects, focusing on spirituality and choosing to follow your own spiritual path and not follow the paths of others. This could be a time to process information from your environment. I also think this ties into self-awareness. Like part of self-awareness is knowing yourself and being conscious of your own patterns and the things within yourself. And your spiritual side of yourself and integrating these things. And a lot of it comes from, how is my actions affecting others? How, am I projecting? Am I taking out my frustrations. I'm going to get to that. Doing all that. And like all these things are which need processing information from your environment. Like looking at the signs, paying attention to the signs. Like when I put those unethical videos up, the signs were clearly telling me this was a bad idea. The universe was telling me, no, this is not a good idea. You did wrong. So the environment can really give you signs, which of what is for your highest good and what is not. Like life can be an oracle in that way. So processing information from your environment, the signs of telling you what is the best course of action to take based off of what you're seeing and what you're experiencing. So understanding one's deeper feelings, and this is also with Neptune and Aries. The compassionate side of Neptune and Aries is really not only empathizing with another, but then motivating another to be themselves, believing in them and inspiring them. Like, you know what? You're strong. You're capable of this. I believe in you. You're so much stronger than you realize. You can do this. I have faith. That is so compassionate. There is so much compassion that is deeply compassionate in that. So when you move on the side of that and uplift others in that way, then you move on the path of growth more. So the next aspect, the next planetary conversation is Mercury sextile Pluto. So now with this, Mercury in Aries, Pluto in Aquarius, this is where you are thinking very, very deeply about yourself and what you want to produce, what you want, to do in your life. So thinking very, very deeply about Mercury in Aries and Pluto in Aquarius, you're thinking very, very deeply about who do I want to be in this life. Now, with Mercury-Pluto sextiles, you have the power of persuading others to be their true selves. At best, you can use this energy to persuade others to be their true selves. Persuading others over things, to act on things, to live their best lives. And also not to control others. Like we have to realize, we can inspire others, but it's not right to just control others, because we can get into like, oh, now it's about you, because now it's about not about them. Like now you are controlling them, where you're telling them how they should live their life and what they should do that you want them to do that they really don't want, that they authentically don't feel that it is right for them to do that in their lives. So, so not taking others down with communication, not trying to control others, and not making, not overpowering others in a way. Like use your power with communication, but don't say things where you don't feel worried about saying them. Don't say things in a way where they would hurt others and make others feel weak, or by making others feel weak. So then you can look at deeper subject matters with these things. Invest in deeper subject matters that are more that talk about that you truly want to invest in. Like, what are the subject matters that you want to go into? Not that anybody else is forcing you to, but what do you want to learn? And then manipulation through communication. So manipulating others through communication, and speaking very, very, proudly and loudly about things in a way where you are manipulating you're controlling others' thoughts. You're trying to get in there and guilt them and make them think certain things for your own personal gain. Not guilt tripping others, basically. Okay. Yeah. Not manipulating through communication, like being very, very mindful not to try to control others through communication. And at best, we can really, really see below the surface as to what their motives are, and we can really, really get in touch, go deeply within ourselves as to what our motives are. What are our motives? What do we really want and why do we want it? Like looking at why do we want what we want? What is the reason behind this? What is the story behind this? What are the feelings behind this? Is this from a conditioned place of insecurity, or is this from a secure place? Like getting in touch with that and looking at others' motivations and why they're doing what they're doing also. So the very, very last aspect that we have to discuss here, and this is a big one, Mars conjunct Saturn. The two malefic planets coming together on April 19th exactly at around 6 degrees of Aries. So I think it's very, very easily they're kind of a degree off. I think 7 degrees. Yes, 7 degrees of Aries. I just had to check. So with this energy, with this aspect, it's just hard to use your energy effectively. Like you can't quite get your ducks in a row. Like you can't quite figure out and do it well, and channel your energy in an effective, concrete way where you're actually making things happen in your life. There's this feeling like things are not happening fast enough. Things are taking way too long. And there's this restlessness, there's this impatience that comes in. Like you feel very, very impatient. And things should be happening faster than they are. Things should be going a lot faster. You could also find that anger is very, very difficult to express. You feel like it's hard to express anger effectively. Where it's often you're repressing the anger, or you're holding in the anger, and it's about expressing it in a certain way. But you may find like you may become more aware of like how difficult it is to express your anger. Like anger is something that we're often told, oh, you can't be angry because it's going to hurt others, and anger is a dangerous emotion because it's just going to destroy others. Like this is learning to embrace and accept and come, and appease with your anger, make appeasement with your anger. So it can be difficult to express, and going along with it, this is about like focusing on activities that deal with discipline and hard work, like doing those things. Like Saturn is like having a disciplined structure, and about doing things in a very disciplined, hard-working way. And so when you focus on activities that where you can be very, very disciplined in your approach, like these things are not just you achieve it and then you're just done and then you just put the the celery over the root. You are focusing on these activities that require you to really, really put the work in and stay the course and not get off track and not get distracted by all the shiny things or all the distractions, or get like staying on course with them. It's really, really important with this aspect, because it may leave you feeling very, very frustrated with Saturn being in Aries, Mars being in Aries, that you may feel really, really like irritable, very, very frustrated. So practicing empathy, practicing grace, practicing patience, just being kind to one another, not being so reactive, not being so dismissive, or so cutting them off in conversation, not being so quick to judge or quick to get mad, and really, really having the self-awareness to process your stuff, your emotions, your traumas, your feelings, and whatever you have, instead of taking those frustrations and those insecurities out on others. Like, what in me is causing me to want to do this? Becoming very, very aware of this part of me. Like, if you are judging somebody my age for making a video and putting themselves out there, and you think that they are being a nerd, then you are basically having this insecurity about that maybe you were told that you were a nerd, and maybe you were told, because this is what happened to me, this person commented on this video and called me, said that I looked nerd, and so maybe they were told that they were a nerd. Maybe they were shamed and judged and not allowed to put themselves out there, and so they found ways of hiding themselves, still posting community posts and videos on social media, but hiding themselves and not expressing themselves. And maybe they just feel this really, really strong prejudice toward frustrations toward others expressing themselves. People like me, my age in particular, probably. And so instead of working through that with themselves and journaling about it, so then they can deliver it in a peaceful way, or just come at it from a place of kindness and not projecting, and not unintelligence, then when you're processing that, you can deliver the message in a more kind, real way that is more aligned with your soul, and not through this insecurity that you're taking, this frustration that you have about others, and you're just projecting out. Like, we have to be very, very careful of projecting our stuff onto others. So, and then how are these fears and insecurities affecting your ability to think clearly? Affecting your ability to reason logically? That's also something to consider, of how these unconscious emotional fears and insecurities are doing this. And then we can also look at personal development, where you're stronger and more self-aware. So when you work on yourself and heal yourself and become more secure in yourself, you become more strong within yourself, and more self-aware of yourself. It's like the saying, know thyself. Like, this new moon and this energy is saying, know thyself. And then expressing your frustrations in a healthy way is really, really important. Not, being destructive or mean or callous, or shutting others down, dismissing others, shaming, or just expressing your frustrations in a very, very judgmental, reactive, unprocessed way. Express your frustrations in a secure way, not an insecure way. Like, back up, have the awareness, like, what do I feel secure in myself? Like, what am I not processing within myself that is causing me to, catch yourself? Like, it's natural for all of us to project, and project our frustrations, but we need to catch ourselves and realize when we are doing it, so that we don't, so that we can look at it within ourselves and be more real and authentic from our soul and not our ego and our insecurities. So, and then also Saturn is tradition, traditional, methods, ways of doing things. So, you may find that if you were to do things the traditional way, then you would very, very well succeed, with that. But I just want to actually change it, because Aries does it its own way. Like the freedom to do things in a way that's your own way, your own original way, that does have structure to it, that is based off of traditional, practical, logical ways of going about this, but it's your own, way, and your own way of doing it. So that's what I want to leave you with here. Thank you for tuning in to this podcast episode on the new moon in Aries. Tune in for tomorrow's podcast episode, where I will be talking about how you can experience and what you need to know for this new moon for your sun, moon, and rising sign. So I'll see you on that episode. And anyway, take good care, and follow the Cosmic Sky podcast. And I will see you on the next episode.